Hey there, friends. Happy Saturday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your weekend forecast. Got a lot to talk about. The drought monitor, the rain that we've had, the cool start to summer. Today is the first full day of summer. Yesterday, the summer solstice occurred just after 7:40 p.m. and that's Pacific time. And so today we can enjoy the full day, but it's still going to be much cooler than normal. And then we'll have cloudy conditions and then some showers in the back half of the day. But this rain has been so beneficial. Unfortunately, it likely won't help put a major dent in our drought situation, which I will talk all about that coming up. But if you are wanting to be outside, not have to worry about any rain, Sunday's the day. But even this afternoon, it's not going to be bad. Maybe a couple of sprinkles. The bulk of the rain will be out of here by then. Temperatures will peak on Tuesday, so summer is coming. The temperatures, at least, the summer-like temperatures, if you will, because our temperatures Monday and Tuesday will start to come back up into the mid and upper 70s, potentially around 80 degrees. Model guidance has come down a little bit in terms of just how warm we'll get on Tuesday, but nonetheless, it's still going to be quite lovely. So today is going to be the coolest day. Tomorrow, we're in the 60s and 70s, so doing better if you want that warm weather. The big picture, we've had this area of low pressure and upper level low, and you can see how we get that counterclockwise circulation around that low, and so we have these showers, steady showers that arrived late last night, and they're moving generally from north to south and wrapping around that low. With that being said, we have some clearing behind that in terms of precipitation at least, but we're not totally done with the rain, at least until this low moves more to our east, which it's doing that right now. So this morning's going to be the wettest part of our weekend. So the radar loop, at least over the last couple of hours till about the mid-morning hours, you see how it's starting to move. The heaviest rain has really been focused over southern King County, especially as of 8 this morning, and it's leading to some very slick travel. Also, see a little bit of white on the radar. Those are some snow showers, generally above 5,000 feet, and I'll show you some of the cameras as well. I wanted to really take a second and talk about just how slippery the roads are. Driving into work this morning around 4 a.m., saw a lot of cars starting to spin out, and even this morning as well. And it's because we haven't had rain. We haven't had any measurable rain, at least more than 1/10 of an inch of rain, or at least 1/10 of an inch at SeaTac since the end of May. And so we've had all of this buildup just on the roads and then just on the surfaces. And so this has led to this greasy layer developing over the roads. And when it finally rains, and not just a sprinkle or two, that steady rain, that layer that developed rises to the surface, to the top, and then when cars drive over that, it's going to lead to slick roads. And we've seen that, especially over King and portions of Pierce counties as well. And with this rain moving from north to south and just people being out and about on this Saturday, just watch out for that. But once again, the rain will start to taper off. Now, yesterday at SeaTac, at least, didn't really get measurable precipitation, but you see some of the hot spots yesterday. It was really to the north and then over eastern Washington where there were thunderstorms. But as of at least midnight this morning, here's some of the rain totals. So this updates throughout the day. So this isn't specifically at 8 this morning as well, but as we get more data, so expect these numbers to rise. But Bellingham over 1/2 of an inch, and then almost 1/2 of an inch in Mount Vernon, and then it starts to taper off, gets a little lower from north to south because again those rain gauges need to catch up, and then our data will populate that. But you see most of the heaviest rain really favored the northern areas, and then likely going to at least see some more rain with some of those heavier pockets. The rain gauges starting to add up at SeaTac, perhaps Tacoma, and then maybe Olympia, but the showers will start to weaken. Through at least Sunday night, you see maybe an additional tenth of an inch, a quarter of an inch perhaps, and then as those showers move closer to southern Washington, we'll get some more of that as well. So anything at this point will help. And you see so far this month, this doesn't take into account what Bellingham picked up this morning. That will update, but doing better than where we were. CTAC, at least as of yesterday for the month, only trace amounts. And the yearly departure pushing 6 inches below normal, where we should be. Olympia almost 9 inches below where we should be this time of year. And so the latest drought monitor update, it comes out on Thursdays, and it has changed pretty significantly from the previous update, the previous Thursday. And you see this tan color, that is a moderate drought. Initially it was along and east of I-5 and up in the Cascades, but now it has been expanded to include the coast as well, South Sound, and then that yellow color is abnormally dry. Here's a look at that previous update. So not kidding, you see we saw more yellow versus more of that tan color. And once again, you can see it highlighted there. So that means our drought conditions have gotten worse. Now, the seasonal drought outlook, this is a product issued by the Climate Prediction Center, and this looks at a broad view. Yes, we're still going to get rain. We're still expecting that. We're not going to be bone dry all summer, hopefully, but through at least the end of September, they're saying the drought's likely going to continue for most of the area. Initially, it was at least maybe the drought continues for a smaller area, or maybe it improves. But now, just looking at the long range and just the weather patterns that we are setting up, and again, looking at the broad picture there, it's showing, again, drought continues. So, and that makes sense. We are not going to have just over, say, 5 inches of rain in a short amount of time. We would need some significant rain to really completely get us out of the drought situation, which in turn, as we know, that could lead to a pretty active wildfire season. And so, again, the big picture is the rain is going to be more so this morning, a couple of sprinkles later in the day, and I'll show you on the Futurecast. I didn't forget about that, but I also wanted just to show you how different it is for Washington. We have snow above, we have rain below, and it's going to be cloudy, a little dreary all day long. Taking you up to Paradise, and thankfully people are dressed for winter conditions, but you see snow falling. This time yesterday just had maybe a little bit of some rain falling and not nearly as much snow, but Paradise is in the higher elevations, as we know. Taking you to the passes, the Cascade passes, our snow levels are high enough that we're not expecting any slick travel through the passes, if anything, because of the rain. Not expecting any of that. Now, if you are hiking or camping this weekend, again, snow levels today about 6,000 feet, tomorrow 8,000 feet. So if you're hiking today or camping, just know that it's going to be cooler than normal. Could be a little blustery, and it could be a little damp out there. And once again, tomorrow it will be a little milder. Here's a look from our Queen Anne camera, at least as of 8:30 this morning, and you see how quickly the clouds are moving, and then we have the camera shaking a little bit. So it is a dreary morning, but once again, needed the rain. But later in the morning, really just going to taper off to sprinkles, drizzle, whatever you want to call it, but it's not going to be steady, heavy rain or anything like that. But we'll have mostly cloudy skies, maybe some sun breaks later in the day. High temperature wise, our normal high is 72 this time of year. And so we're expecting to be mainly in the lower 60s. If we get sun breaks later in the day, our highs could bump up to maybe 63, 64. Up in the mountains, Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie in the 40s. Eastern Washington also going to be in the 60s. Overnight, it's going to be mild, 40s and 50s, pretty much uniform for everyone. Tomorrow's highs, we start to climb up, possibly as much as 10 degrees warmer tomorrow, but we will likely at least have clouds in place, maybe some clearing later in the day. Looking ahead, so into next week, so the temperatures will peak, as I mentioned, Tuesday before we get another system moving in Wednesday or Thursday. The models are starting to hint maybe some more showers potentially favoring the mountains and the coast on Wednesday, so keeping only slight chances in the forecast for Wednesday, but then Thursday, a better chance for some wet weather. Here's a look at the tropics before we wrap things up. I also wanted to show you just what's going on in the eastern Pacific. As we know, it's been really active. There was a landfalling Cat 3 Hurricane Eric that made landfall over the southwestern coast of Mexico just a few days ago, and another area to watch. This is on the Pacific side, the eastern Pacific, taking you to the Atlantic basin, and no tropical development expected over the next 7 days. So great news there. Again, let's show you the 7-day forecast. Temperatures in the 60s, 70s, jumping back up to about 78 degrees, 72 on Wednesday, and then Thursday about 70 degrees. By Friday, about 73, and so temperatures will likely start to come back up. I did want to show you the Futurecast, and so let's talk about that. This is later this morning. As you see, most of the rain situated South Sound and southward to the Oregon state line. Then we get to the afternoon, just a couple of spotty showers, maybe some sprinkles. It's more of a nuisance than anything. We're used to that here. Into the later portion of the afternoon, you see potentially some clearing over Vancouver Island, perhaps the northern coast, and then closer to the islands. And then into the later portion of the evening, we'll start to see some clearing as well, maybe some sun breaks. Could have another round of showers moving in late tonight, really favoring northern zones, and then they would be quick moving. And then a better shot over the mountains in eastern Washington. So once again, another thing to keep in mind if you're camping. Here's tomorrow morning. Partly sunny, maybe mostly cloudy to start with a couple of sprinkles, and then we have that clearing into the afternoon and into the evening. But as that low continues to exit the region, we're going to dry things out. So once again, I would not cancel any plans, just have a backup plan ready to go. Grab that windbreaker, a rain jacket, just because with that potential for some drizzle into the afternoon and evening, you just don't want to be caught off guard. But look forward to some brighter skies and then warming back up into the 70s and potentially around 80 degrees on our Tuesday.